All right, and we are live. Welcome to It's Early and Tom Should Have Planned Better at the ChannelCon 2022 CompTIA. So I'm not going to do this vlog for too long. I found a little gap in my schedule here. I guess I could have done it when I first woke up. If you can't tell, I still sound like I first woke up. The problem with doing conferences is you lose your voice. It is a challenge you face because for reasons I don't understand, conferences like to play music at a loud level, and then you're forced to talk over said loud level to have conversations with people, and then you lose your voice. And this is day 3 of the conference. So I don't have a lot of voice left. Hey, Travis, can you hear me? I actually wanted to do an audio check, and I think it's working because I'm using these new DJI microphones, and this is actually kind of cool because I should be able to just wander around, and it should just keep working. They got quite a distance on them. I always like to decorate my gravelly, but gravelly has nothing to do with the microphone. It is completely a me thing. But I got to gather more of these. This is my official live badge I have, and I like to decorate things. They had these little bands, so I wrapped them in here. Part of the thing is, getting a reason that people engage with you and have a fun conversation. So that's a lot of what I've been doing, wandering around here. It has been a lot of fun. So for those of you that aren't familiar, you can just Google really quick, CompTIA ChannelCon Live. And if you're still here and you see this, yeah, Brett's here. We've had a great time at the conference. It's been a lot of fun. I'm engaging with a lot of vendors, meeting people. I had a great conversation with Linode. Might have heard of them if you've listened to the Home Lab show. But it's fun because I get to sit down and have direct conversations instead of the emails back and forth with people. And it just makes it kind of an interesting dynamic because, you're sitting down and you're less guarded, I guess. So you're not trying to be like official business email. And I think I get most of the same out of conferences or conferencing when I'm doing a live, but it's nice to do, sit down and have a direct conversation with people. So it's really cool. Oh, hot in Switzerland. Wow, Norway. I figured a lot of my European people will be happy that I did it this early because it's just afternoon for you. Matter of fact, it's 9:35 Eastern time, but I'm another time zone over. I'm actually in Chicago. So here's my view. I'm in the big city. So they got it cool across the way here, right there, because they got a pool on top of their hotel. I do not have a pool on top of the hotel I'm at. I still like the hotel, but there's no pool on the roof. So maybe I'll do more of these morning live streams, but for now, we'll do it here. But I cannot do this for too long because I do have several things to get to. But nonetheless, the things that are going to come out of this are, I want to do a few more interviews with some of the vendors I met to dive into a few things. This kind of relates to me talking about the sponsorship stuff because right away, I pitched it to many of you last week about how I want to do it. I wanted to see if someone had like a better idea or things they didn't like. Yeah, that hotel Wi-Fi. It works in the morning. By afternoon, it's dead. Not everybody gets up as early as me. But nonetheless, one of the things I want to do is make sure, I'm aligned with, I do some of these sponsors. So talking directly to the marketing people that happen to be here at CompTIA helped me solidify some of those ideas I had. And so I'll be putting it together. And it's the thing I mentioned in my last vlog Thursday. I made sure I mentioned at the beginning if you want to go back and watch it. But essentially, it's taking on sponsors and saying, hey, this particular post will be sponsored, and I'll talk with one of their engineers. Matter of fact, that's what's kind of cool. Their marketing people and engineers are here. And the reason why is because when you're standing around in a ChannelCon booth, if someone has a more deeply technical question like this guy, then you go and move on to, hey, let's go ahead and have you talk to our technical people. But I want to make sure all of it comes off not as a product advertisement because I won't let it. It's going to be a deep technical dive with one of their engineers. And I think that's going to be fun. One of the companies I talked to, we talked about diving into some esoteric details of how you track data that users are doing through the browser. There's actually 2 vendors that have 2 different ideas of how to do this. So I think they're going to be a fun learning and understanding how the problem. I mean, they of course they got a product that may solve the problem, but I want to dive into the engineering that it took to get there and what the challenges are, what you're trying to find. And this was fun. My friend Jason did a good talk yesterday, which this is going to be fun. And on Security Onion, and Jason, if you look up Jason Slagle, great guy. He's definitely very interesting. So he is the bearded person there. Let me find a better picture of him. And let's see here. Just in case you get an idea of how the security stuff goes with Jason, he's quite the talented security person. And here we go. There's a good picture of Jason. And you know, you can't have a good security talk that doesn't start with whiskey, according to Jason. He actually gets whiskey bottle out in cups at the beginning of his talk in the middle of the day because he's kind of fun. So I'm going to be attending. He did a Security Onion talk. I will be working with him probably to help get, he's working on a good Security Onion video. And I fully support this. So that's something I want to work with Jason on. He's a content creator. He's newer in it, but me and him are friends. He happens to be close enough. He's out of Toledo. I'm out of Detroit. Those are about an hour apart. So going to be having some more fun with that. And I want to do some cybersecurity videos with him. So I think it's just going to be a fun time putting that together. So that's definitely high on the list. I know a lot of you want to do it. And Jason's talk yesterday was called, you know, how to do threat hunting on a budget. And I might just steal the name and put it together kind of as a similar talk, because we're going to cover it differently, but I think there's a lot of interest many of people have. Even if it's not something you commercially use, Security Onion is awesome for learning and understanding what a SIM stack does, what threat hunting really is from the reality of doing it. And I think it's just great that he did that talk here. So I'm just in it for the whiskey. There is some small chance that I was definitely among the people who was in it for the whiskey. So where's that at? There is somewhere. Oh, maybe I didn't take a picture of Jason doing his talk. I didn't have a picture of Jason doing his talk with all the whiskey stuff set up on the table, but it was fun. Definitely a good time. But we can at least take a moment to say right here, I'll drop this back in there. Hey, it was Chicago's a cool city. So that's definitely, it was kind of cool hanging out and doing all the photos. I haven't been to Chicago. Well, technically I went to Chicago not that long ago, but I haven't been in the city for a while. I went to a place adjacent to Chicago, but in the photo, the first one as well, this is some of the hystericalness is he did happen to acquire that sign. He took it from one of the CompTIA people. So part of doing things is, you know, social engineering them and things like that. So it's definitely definitely a lot of fun when you participate with the social engineering aspects of it. Because Jason has a fun hobby that he's been doing at all the events. So we have these badges that we print out, and Jason has a thing for a very, there's this pretty not well known in the industry CEO here. Jason has his badge because Jason thinks it's funny, and I completely agree with him that whenever he knows that person's going to be there, he prints his badge because they both have the same first name. So he becomes that person. So it is. And even at the CEO's own events, he has been able to print the badge of him. And they're not sure. They are on the watch for it. They're like, because Jason's got the big beard. He's a quite identifiable person. So it's been a little fun game he plays is, can I print the CEO's badge and put it in mine? And so far, that answer has been yes at all the recent events, which has been just great. It's definitely, I want to bring them on channels. I want to talk more about some of the social engineering aspects and stuff. I think these are fun topics to talk about. And of course, definite audience interest, because if you work in tech, you work in IT, you really should have, even if it's not what you do, you should have that adjacent understanding of how all the cybersecurity thing works, how any of these things may affect you. Because even if your job is just, even as a database admin or something like that, understanding and thinking about the security around the thing you do is always important. I know a lot of you work in the IT industry or even work as the, IT business, and that's extremely, even if you're just a simple, at the basic one tech, you're just getting started, the more you think about how cybersecurity will affect, it also gives you a chance to think about how your career path will go and how you want to shape it. So that's one of the reasons some people say, and I always loosely answer if I'm a cybersecurity person. And I mean, I did get an endorsement from my friends over at Huntress, and I stated like my friends over at Huntress to let you know their bias are like cybersecurity expert Tom. And I'm always hesitant. Maybe it's imposter syndrome to call myself some type of expert, but it's just because I know how broad it is. It's one of those things like people start out saying I'm an expert, and then they go, "Oh, wow, this is a broad, scary topic. How can I possibly know everything?" And then you kind of shy away from that. I'm just someone who's an enthusiast about tech. That's generally how I like to word it. But nonetheless, these I have about 5 more minutes. If you want to ask questions or whatever, I did not have a lot of pre-planning, which is why this went out so early. I may, because I have to drive back to Detroit tonight. Maybe depending on how I feel, I'll do another live stream tonight or Saturday. But yeah, the event has been a lot of fun. And if you happen to still be at the event, 'cause I'll be here all day today, well, reach out and say hi. If I got to figure out uh, something, and maybe if someone wants to leave in the comments down below some ideas, me and Brett were kind of laughing about this. And sometimes people are like, are you that guy from YouTube? And yes. And how do I, besides doing it in this video, but not everyone's going to watch this particular video. And how do you tell people that, hey, I don't mind if someone wants to take a selfie or whatever? You know what I mean? I like engaging with people that follow me content. And I've had some wonderful conversations. It's a nice icebreaker when you go up to people and they say things like, hey, Tom, I think you're Tom. Or one person says, I love your videos. I think I know you. And I'm like, yes, asymmetrically. And the guy's like, yeah, I've watched a lot of your videos, but you don't even know who I am, do you? And now I feel awkward. It was just, that's the fun conversation starters we had. So it was, yeah. Hey, you're that guy from the YouTube video. Yeah, it's just, I don't mind. Like, I really like engaging with people and getting feedback on things. And, sometimes people, and I would say the majority of people, based on the number of views versus the number of comments, it's pretty asymmetrical. Like, I think a lot of people just don't comment, but sometimes I learn something that I didn't know before, or a tip. The feedback from the audience helps drive to me to make content more focused on what the audience wants. It's always my goal to make it, if I do a tutorial, I always want to make sure I understand what I may have left out that would help you have a greater understanding of how to get something done. The ultimate goal is to make sure when I'm done with a review or a tutorial that you understand the product, have all the information you need, or you understand how to get the software or thing running. So that's one of the things I think is really important. So I do appreciate comments and feedback. I mean, well, some people just they just make comments. There's no real action item in there, but I don't even mind the comments that just say thank you and stuff like that. I've it hasn't been complete dumpster fire that people always joke about with the YouTube comments. Occasionally, there's a few people that have been blocked, but for the most part, they're pretty good. Let's see. Hey, thank you. Can you plan to do a video on CXRNG auto start reboot system? I don't even know what that is. I don't know what CXRNG is. So, love your channel and content. Been low key labbing for years, but really got more into networking. Been a great help. That's what I love to hear. That is on there. CX. Some type of search engine. Okay. It's not something I use, so I don't know. Maybe I'll look at it. I don't really know what it is. So I don't know. Post in my forums and explain why I would need to do that. So it's difficult to comment on the TV. I usually watch I think that's a lot of it. I get some device statistics for where these things are watched. And I think that might be a big part of why some people don't comment. And I'm the same way. I actually um, I don't watch. Oh, I guess I watch a decent amount on the computer, but a lot of my YouTube consumption, I would say my personal YouTube consumption, like I watch motorcycle videos or whatever. I rarely comment because I'm watching it on TV. So I think that's probably a really good point. I am not. I am going to get to be part because I did not dive into because of the other things I did here. Any of the upcoming cert changes, but one of the reasons I'm here is to meet the people on the committees so I can get involved in that, and then I would be bringing a better understanding from the certifications. And there's several committees that I also am exploring belonging to, so I can, you know, have my influence on how tech is implemented in CompTIA. So absolutely. Um, I don't have anything cool at ChannelCon, just the conference itself, meeting all the people, hanging out with cybersecurity people, being out till 2 a.m., just having these fun topics and discussions. I mean, there's just, let me see. I can probably just jump through and we're trying to give a picture of the event. I don't think anything in here. Yeah, nothing in here is stuff I can't share. It has not been shared yet. Most of it's going to end up on LinkedIn or whatever. But yeah, this is like these are the after party events. Me hanging out with Sean, and this is from the Business Technicalities channel. We interviewed her. It was a great interview. Me and Sean eating cake pops, fireworks, blah blah blah. Most of it is like the part that matters to me. This is Finn. I talked about my in relationship of being an investor in Finn Security, so we were having conversations there. Yes, they're wearing life jackets because it was kind of entertaining. Um, a really great time hanging out with Keith. He's just a lot of fun. Great conversations. Me and Brett hanging out. But yeah, Ninja One hanging out with those people. So that's a lot of what I do is just go down there and engage and talk with a lot of the people on there. So definitely a lot of fun. I might do some, if I have time, do some interviews or talks at the inside the conference. But so there's a lot going on. I'll have to really think about what was the best when it's all over. CXOG allows anonymous searching without being tracked by Google. Interesting. Hey man, have a great time. Be safe. As an engineer with around 8 years experience, your passion for pfSense Home Lab really up my game. I'm definitely knowledgeable thanks to you. Awesome. I still love hearing that. Yeah, there are a few other search engines as well. I don't know. I'll have to look to see what the angle is and is it useful? That's the biggest thing. People get really concerned about the tracking stuff, but is it useful? Google is useful, and I'm not saying that they are good at the way they track or it's just malevolent. No, it's a real concern. I think awareness. It doesn't mean if you're aware of something, no, you shouldn't use it. You should use it with the awareness that you're using it, with the awareness. It's kind of like how I use Facebook. I use it with the awareness of how I craft my online persona, what I have put in there. Now, granted, that's me and many of the audience here who think about things an awareness level of it. But you're right. There's the average person does not think about that. But also the average person is not going to use CRX and set that up. So I don't know where the answer lies in there, but if it's interesting and I think it's a very useful thing, awesome. If it's just I don't know. I have to figure out where the value is in playing with it. So, searching Docker compose, restart unless stopped, auto start, redone. Yeah, that's another thing too. If it's that simple, just putting it in there to start. So, I'm sure the CISA plate is coming out last quarter. I'm also don't have any certs, so I'm not the best cert person to ask. I like being influenced in some of the tech stuff, but I'm specifically not certified. So I got to figure out where I land. This is why sitting down and talking with people who are on these committees is very helpful. Hey, Tom, thank you so much for creating all these tutorials. I was able to build my network using pfSense and run a true NAS server on a DMZ. Awesome. Love hearing it. Logged into Google anyways, have YouTube Premium. Google does. Yeah. I can agree. It's just understanding what they're collecting and what you're putting in there. It's really as simple as that. By the way, I still do because I know it's ad driven. I'm careful how I do a search in Google. In I do some logged in, but then I do some not logged into Google. I split that. It's why people are like, oh my gosh, you use Chrome. Google's slurping up your data, and I'm like, Chrome is because I use it for business. I use Firefox for personal, and if I have something I don't want in my Google search history, I'm not logged into Google under Firefox at all. Matter of fact, with Firefox, I have a lot of stuff to keep. I just don't need tracking. It's not necessary. So if I'm researching something, it's actually more helpful for me to start in a incognito window. And the reason why is I don't want my search biased by my history. And Google, they're doing it not to bias you. They're doing it to go, hey, let's get this person the more helpful information. Therefore, I like, being able to get this unbiased thing when I'm searching for something if that's necessary for what I'm doing. Most of the time I actually prefer their bias because when I type in a restaurant name, I don't want the one further from me. I want the restaurant with that same name in the same city I'm in. So frequently the contextual helpfulness of Google is exactly what I want to use. Do I use Brave browser? I don't have an interest in it. I use Firefox and I use Chrome, and the reason why both those companies are good because your threat surface is the browser. The browser is a massive, and I say is, I mean, there's obviously more threat surfaces, but I watch people spend so much time locking down their networks. And cool guys, but did you know that the most likely is malicious browser plugins, 0 days in browsers, problems in browsers that are exploitable through websites because you're going to the website. They don't care what VLAN you're on. So I don't know for absolute certainty if Brave is as on top of it. Google Chrome is absolutely on top of everything. The Google initiative for how well and how fast is like a gold standard for how you should keep code bases up to date. Google's done an amazing job on keeping Chrome up to date. Firefox, hey, they've held their own and doing it as well. As it goes down through the other browsers about keeping them up to date, my confidence level starts tailing off. And so I don't want the browser to be the ingress for some problem I have. Run everything incognito. It really depends what I'm doing. It's not like I said, if I'm looking at a restaurant, I would prefer it. Matter of fact, I know I'm going to get restaurant ads. You know what I want? Restaurant ads. Why do I want restaurant ads? Because I want a discount. Give me a coupon. And that's what these restaurants do. So I don't mind in that context. To me, Google search is working perfectly fine. I typed in, I want to know if this place is a good restaurant. Hey, look, there's a coupon for 10% off at that restaurant as an ad that came up. Awesome. It showed me the local restaurant. I got an ad. Now, I understood everything that went into that search. I understood that now they know a preference I have for a particular food because I claimed it. I clicked on the ad, but I'm fine with that. And will it show me more food ads? Yeah, probably. And I'm also fine with that. I get motorcycle ads. I purposely, if I'm looking for, I just had to buy new tires for my motorcycle. I was able to get a discount because the ad someone had, they knew what I was searching for. And I was like, look, a deal. And if I did that all in incognito, it may not give me the same deal I had gotten because they're like, well, I don't have the tracking data for this person. But I did this in the context of I'm aware what the outcome is. And that's, I think, the most important part. I was able to get Graylog set up in UniFi Send Data. Can't find documentation on what next to do in Graylog to view the data correctly. Go to just view it. I showed the data in mine. You can just go through and look at it. I kind of don't understand the question. Graylog has a bunch of videos you can watch though. If you want to know how to do regex and parsers, they got videos on that too. So if that's the question, head over to Graylog and they have good documentation. Well, they have documentation on it. You still have to understand regex and how to parse things. So, oh yeah, Brave and the crypto money thing. I think it got overblown, but there's still some confusion I have about it, and I don't care enough to look. As soon as anyone says there's crypto in something, I'm like, that's probably stupid. Well, crypto money, cryptocurrency, and it be context. I like crypto, but cryptocurrency, that's a whole dumb issue. Maybe I'll rant on one day. Looking up products. I like products looked up at, provided I want future ads for those products. So we'll have a qualifier to that, like motorcycle stuff. Let's see. Maybe one day I'll put the money into repairing my bike. Yeah. Tom, quick question. No, coincidentally, how to enable unsupported SFP modules on XCP-NG? I don't know. I've never tried. I've never found an unsupported module. So it's not only the module that's not supported, it's usually some driver with the card. You're going to have to look up, and it's just a Linux question. It's not an XCP-NG question. Does Linux support SFP with this card? And that would be your search, not XC. Don't add XCP-NG to the search because that's not the relevant piece. It runs on top of standard Linux. So start with, does it work in there? But I'm going to wind this down. It's 9:57. I'll give 3 more minutes because 10 o'clock was when I wanted to stop doing this. You create a tutorial on how to use free radius and pfSense to assign VLANs. I don't know. I don't think that's the most useful thing. Maybe it's not something. A lot of people seem to think it's used all over the place. This is not a common use. It's something home users want all the time. I don't really have businesses setting that up. I don't know. Maybe that's a maybe. I'm not sure. There's just a lot of details to sort it out to get it working right. I believe we've done it. I haven't. Steve, I should say, one of my technicians has done it a couple times. But it's always going back and forth to get everything lined up properly. I don't think it just works, which is, of course, why you're asking for a tutorial. So, yeah. All right. Well, I am, as I said, going to wind this down. I have to go to the breakfast. I'm glad the microphones work because these are my new DJI mics, and I have some new fun things I'm going to be doing with these microphones to do some more interviews. I actually been collecting a lot of videos. I got to process them, and maybe pretty soon I'm just going to have to hire an editor and surrender. I just got to find an editor who can take the mess I made and assemble it because I have so many videos I put together, but now I have to sort and put them into a story. Like I have a lot of on-site videos for wiring projects I've done, and my goal is to go do more on-site videos. So yes, I want to do them. I know a lot of people on there, so yes. Let's see. Yeah, if you don't have a, I always start with the card's level of support with Linux before I get the card. It may be just the card you have. But I know that can be a challenge. So hopefully you can find a card that supports the SFP. It's also 99% of the time I go with like the Intel, like the 10 gig cards, Intel X520s. Like they just work. That's why we like them. The compatibility is solid on those. There's a few other ones. I know it's not the only one. I just know I've had good. Just stay away from Broadcom. But the Intel ones seem to have a good compatibility with whatever I plug into them. So. What laptop are you running when you're on the road? Oh, yeah. You would be, this thing's old. I think this is like a 5-year-old laptop. This is there's a review somewhere of it. I don't know. I got to find, it's like a ThinkPad. Matter of fact, it's one of the only ThinkPads I've reviewed. So hold on. If I go on my YouTube channel and type in ThinkPad, it's a sad spec laptop. It's a i5 something. I don't need speed for this unless I'm editing. ThinkPad X250. I bought it 5 years ago. No, 2019. It's an L480. It's a ThinkPad L480, and I do have a review. If you type in L480 on my channel, you'll find it. I don't remember all the specs because I don't care. I'm not a hardware person, so it doesn't have a strong relevance to me, but nonetheless, it's just this is actually the laptop I use a lot sitting outside of my house. It's the laptop I use when I'm in my kitchen. I will not eat in my studio. I never want to get crumbs in there or anything food related. So I take this laptop if I go upstairs or I answer emails, or sometimes I just work upstairs on my laptop, especially emails. I like to sit outside sometimes and just answer emails, or occasionally I do sit in my garage because I sit in my garage with the door open because I got a nice view of some trees across the street. That's where I'll sit on this laptop and type all my emails out and things like that. So it doesn't need to be a super fast laptop. 99% of what this does, the occasional travel vlog here, never editing video. It does have like I think this has 16 gigs of RAM. Now you got me curious because I don't know. How many gigs of RAM are in this thing? It does have 16 gigs of RAM. So that's so I can keep all the tabs open. That's it. Yeah. So, all right. Not too exciting. My next laptop I buy, I don't know. I'm probably very, very likely going to go with a nice System 76 laptop. So, or I know everyone wants me to review it. I like them. Cory Doctorow speaks highly of them as well, which is the modular laptops. I can't remember their names, but they're cool. The ones Linus talked about. There's plenty of reviews on them. I think those are really good too. They definitely seem to be a solid option. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It was great seeing all of you here. And sorry for the short notice on here. Leave comments down below on different thoughts you have on everything I talked about. Appreciate it. Or hit me up in the forums for a more in-depth discussion.